Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be when the narcissist begins to fall apart. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So, when did the narcissist begin to fall apart? I can assure you it was long before you met them. You see, when the narcissist was younger, they had already had fractures or cracks in the armor. Their immediate family members knew that something was off, something was different. Maybe they were being groomed and tricked and trapped by their own parents. Maybe they were being taken advantage of when they were younger. This is not an excuse for the poor behaviors. It's illustrating that they began to fall apart long before they met you. Having said that, these people, i.e. the narcissists, plural, they cannot introspect. They can't be accountable. They can't be authentic or genuine. What they can do is they can manipulate people. They can wear multiple masks at any given moment in time to get as many people believing what they are selling as they want to. That is why when you met this person, you probably were vulnerable, you were naive, maybe you were a people pleaser. I can assure you, you didn't have boundaries. You didn't know that narcissism was prevalent on the planet, and you were believing that that person was telling you the truth, that they were similar to you, that they were like-minded, that their words actually held value. You did not know that they were wearing a mask, that they looked at you as an opportunity, that they looked at you as a fuel source, that they looked at you as a way that you would elevate them from one leg of their life to the next leg of their life. And that leg may have been for a day, a week, a month, a year, 30 years, or it could have been 50 or more years. But the narcissist saw in you what you thought other people possessed, which was your level of empathy, your level of care, compassion, commitment, devotion, dedication, transparency, and honesty, and so much more. You're now understanding that many people on the planet, and at the top of this list is certainly the narcissist, they are not who they claim or proclaim to be. Many people are self-serving. Many people are telling you one thing and doing something completely different. Now, not everybody on the planet is the narcissist. I am not saying that. I have never said that, and I won't say that now. What I am trying to illustrate, and my hope is you're picking this up, is you're cut from a different cloth. You most likely are an empath. And yes, for those of you people out there who do not believe that true empaths exist, you're looking at one. So please, take the wisdom, apply what I'm sharing with you. If you're not a true empath, you're somebody different. Are you the narcissist? I can't tell you. What I can tell you is if you were targeted, you most likely have a high level of empathy, and you were all the aforementioned adjectives that I shared, meaning you're abundant, kind, loving, stable, healthy, you know how to fall in love, you can fall in love, and you're committed, and so much more. But what you were is you were the energy source. You were the person that this person wanted to latch onto and have you become attached to them, because they can't become attached to anybody, because they have no substance to them, there's no core to them. The narcissist is a coward and a bully, and they're shallow and hollow, and they know this. What they want is to have somebody become a beard for them, a B-E-A-R-D, someone to make them look good, someone to be arm candy, someone to raise the kids or have the kids with, or put up a house in the white picket fence. They want to have a front so it appears to the general public that they are blending in with society. Truth be told, that's just a front. Remember, take your wedding vows. Did you marry the narcissist? Possibly, but your wedding vows meant one thing to you, because you were committed, you were spiritual, religious, and you believed in those vows. It's not what the narcissist saw. They saw an opportunity and a license to abuse you. Once the wedding bells had rung, the cake was cut, and the ring was on your finger. Now they believed that they owned you. The narcissist does not own you. You must remember that. They believe they do, because they believed if they placed you in the trauma bond that they can do it again and again and again. And they also believe that they can live in your mind rent-free and continue to re-administer verbal abuse, or the what-ifs of the past, or blame you, or triangulate you, or ghost you, or give you the silent treatment, or hang up on you, and so many more things. That's why in each and every video I create over the years, I've shared with you, and I'll share it again. Once you get the wisdom and you know who you're considering, or what people you are considering that are toxic, maybe even narcissistic, you must, and I mean must, go no contact eventually. Block them, delete them, remove them, and all flying monkeys and people associated with them. If not now, when? Now, I understand that maybe you can't do it. Maybe you share children, maybe you live in their same apartment complex, or maybe you work with the narcissist, or maybe you went into business with them, or maybe they owe you money. Maybe they're trying to drag out the divorce or the assets or the custody of the kids. There's so many different layers and nuances and particulars about your relationship that are similar to what mine was and many others, but yours are unique to yourself. So you're going to have to do what serves you when it serves you. Healing is not one size fits all. It will take time. It will take a lot of time, but in your time, you will heal if you utilize the tools that are provided for you with each and every video I create, and from all the amazing wisdom from all over the globe, from all the other people who have healed over the years. You must keep your cup full, and you must maintain your boundaries, and you must understand that the narcissist will fall apart, and they fell apart way before they met you. Going back to your experience with the narcissist, you didn't know who they were. You didn't know what they were capable of. Now you're understanding they sold you a bill of goods. They sold you nothing but future faking of what would never be, the promises of the future. And the whole time you were holding on to that and working for the narcissist, meaning cooking, cleaning, raising the kids, paying bills, and keeping the house clean, and maybe even having a 9-to-5 job, whatever you did. Behind the scenes, they were nowhere to be found. They weren't raising the kids. They were available less and less. They would claim that they would be on weekend retreats or weekend getaways or weekend seminars, wink, wink. But when you weren't with them, you will never know where they were. But when you were with them, what you did know is you were experiencing more and more toxicity every single minute you stayed in that relationship longer and longer. Now, this is all by design at the hands of the narcissist. Remember, they had done this before. They did it with you. They watched their colleagues and coworkers advance up the corporate ladder, and they said, wait, that should be me. I should be driving that fancy car. I should have the Rolex watch. I should be going on trips to Tahiti and the Bahamas and Bermuda and everything. And what they would do is do anything they could do to get whatever they wanted, because they were always in competition with you, with their own kids, with their colleagues, with their siblings, with their parents, with anybody on the planet that they knew, or even people they didn't know. Because the narcissist, in their tiny little pea brain, they believe that they're superior to everybody. They believe people won't break the trauma bond. They believe people won't see behind the mask, and they don't believe that they will ever be discovered or revealed. Truth be told, the narcissist was falling apart way before they met you. But when they placed you in that trauma bond and they had you in that relationship, again, whether you had children with them, married them, relocated, went into business, whatever you did, now they knew they had you. They now knew they had built-in supply and that you were going nowhere. They now knew that they could take the mask off a little bit more here and there, test the temperature of you, test the temperature of that relationship, see how much longer you would tolerate it, see what you would tolerate, see if you would put up a boundary, or see if you would handle the disrespect or the financial abuse or the verbal abuse more and more and more. And the more you were in it, the more toxicity got dumped into you. The more toxicity that got dumped into you, the less clarity you had in your mind. The less clarity you had in your mind, the more you began to doubt yourself. The more you began to doubt yourself, the more stranglehold the narcissist had on you. The tighter the grip they had on you, the less you became or stayed yourself. You became an extension of them. You lost your identity to them. You became the unpaid helper, the walking apology, the errand person, the cook, the cleaner, the person who raised the kids, and more. And you became an extension of them, as I shared. The more you became an extension of them and lost your identity to them, the less you could make decisions, the less focus you had for yourself, the more you were doing for them, and you were putting out all the fires that they were starting intentionally to keep you distracted so they could continue to gallivant the globe looking for your replacement, getting new supply sources, or building other relationships that you would know about or you wouldn't know about. Remember, when you weren't with them, you didn't know where they were, and even when you were with them, you didn't know where they were mentally. But all these things equal one thing: toxicity at the highest level. The toxic person you're considering is the one common denominator. They are the one person that tried to destroy your life, ruin your reputation, steal your hopes, dreams, aspirations, destroy your purpose, your hobbies, your job, your mindset, and your future. And they did a masterful job at doing this until when? Until they couldn't do it any longer. And when they couldn't do it, that's when you finally figured it out, or you went no contact, or you put two and two together. And that's when you began to realize that all the information you were sharing with this person who professed and claimed that they loved you, maybe even claimed that they were in love with you, it was all being weaponized against you, either during that time period or at a later date. Because the narcissist is an information gatherer. They gather any information about you to weaponize it against you at a later date. And if they can't find anything worthy, they will make something up, which is why the narcissist administers the smear campaign. They will twist their narrative any way they want to. They will sell anybody who will listen to them any bill of toxicity or nonsense that they want to portray. They will claim you're the person who needs to see a therapist. You're the person that's got mental problems. You're the person who's the narcissist. Truth is, they're trying to deflect. They're trying to project. They're trying to get the attention off of them and onto you. Think about this for a moment. I've never shared this in a video, but I'll share it right now. Say you were discarded, and say that the relationship ended and it came out of left field. You weren't prepared, because that's what a discard is. So when that happens, what happened? Well, two things happened. And please play this part of the video and play it a few times. You had to put yourself back together. You had to figure out what narcissism was. You didn't want to date. You didn't want to talk to people. You didn't want to eat, sleep. You couldn't focus. You didn't know what was going on. You were hooked on that person. You were caught up in the trauma bond. You were looking for answers. You were not clear. You were looking for closure. You were looking for anything that you could wrap your head around as to why that happened or how it happened. So you were isolated every way possible. What was the narcissist doing when they discarded you? Well, my hope is you don't know, but if you do, I can assure you they were doing something. They were out laughing it up, having a party, dancing, raising a champagne glass with the new supply, spying on your social media, continuing to pepper other people with their smear campaign, watching you up close and from afar, twisting the knife in deeper, and laughing and mocking and saying, yep, this person's life who I just destroyed, they're not going to make it. They're in a world of hurt. I did it. No one will ever know I did it. And now I can just move on and act like I didn't do anything, and that person has all the baggage. That person was you, and it certainly was me. Think about the dynamics. One person is healing. They're reeling. They're destroyed. They're devastated. They don't know what's going on. That was me, and that was you. The other person is laughing it up, playing the victim card, going out to fancy dinners, calling the new supply, having weekend rendezvous with them, wink, wink, doing whatever they're doing, and thinking that they will never be discovered, never be caught. The kids will never figure it out. No one will ever know any better, and no one will put two and two together. Think about what I'm sharing with you. That's the dynamics of a toxic person not caring and actually twisting the knife in somebody as deep as they can, and you over here having to heal, having no support system because it was all blown up, having to deal with the smear campaign, even though you didn't even know what the smear campaign was, having to put yourself back together against all odds, even though you didn't even know what you had to do, and you were isolated and trapped, and that's not even counting you being caught up in the trauma bond. Think about the polar opposites of your experience and their experience. That's why this is the relationship you need to heal from. That's why you need to slow your life down and understand that the narcissist is falling apart at the seams right now, tonight, tomorrow, next week, next month, if they're living that long, and they will forever, because these people deteriorate. They do not improve. They don't have the abilities that you have. What they wanted to do was steal everything from you, capture you, your essence, your aura, your ability to love, your ability to create, your beautiful, bright, shining light, and so much more, and they wanted to destroy it and extinguish it. And they thought they had accomplished that when they discarded you, just like they had done so many other times, but when they discarded other people. Many people who married the narcissist, and I was one of them, many people can't wrap their head around how that person was single. Well, now you know how come they're single. They're single because they're toxic and they're from hell, and they want to destroy people's relationships and people's lives. That's why the narcissist so many times gets married once, twice, 3, 4, 7 times. And no, I am not saying that anyone that's been married more than once is the narcissist. Quite the opposite. I'm saying that the narcissist goes through relationships and marriages like the way you change your shoes. They are loyal to nobody. They care about nobody. They do not believe in the institution of marriage. They don't believe in their wedding vows. They don't believe in spirituality. What they believe in is the facade and keeping people stuck and hooked and trapped and tricked in that narcissistic fog. And this is why they will always fall apart at the seams. This is why the narcissist was always coming unhinged the longer you stayed in that relationship. This is why you saw cracks in the armor from the minute those wedding bells rang, and truth be told, probably before they rang, even up until maybe even including right now. You need to understand the narcissist tried to dump all their toxicity into you, into a human being, into a vessel, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially, every way possible. They wanted you doubting yourself, not believing in yourself, not believing you would heal, not believing you would fall in love again, not believing that you would rebuild and put yourself back together. Because at the end of the day, the narcissist wanted to steal you, your energy, your mindset, your hope, your purpose, your focus, your attention, your direction. Think about it. It's like a seesaw. When the narcissist was on top, they were on the high end of the seesaw, you were on the bottom. They never thought that the tables would turn or things would switch, but they did switch because eventually everything goes to its natural vibrational state, which means this: the narcissist is a low vibrational creature. They exist in a low vibrational quagmire state. I've said that for years, and it's true. Now you're understanding why and how it's true. You are a beautiful, bright, shining light. You shine higher than the sun, the moon, and the stars. The narcissist wanted to capture you, your beautiful, bright, shining light, and your energy. The whole while they were doing that, they were becoming unhinged. They were falling apart. The mask was slipping more and more, but they thought you would tolerate it until you couldn't. And again, as I shared, they didn't think you would make it out. They didn't think you would heal. They didn't think you would see behind the mask, and they did not ever think you would go no contact. But you've done all those things, and now you've risen through the ashes like a phoenix, dusted yourself off by the bootstraps, put yourself back together, at times second by second, minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, week by week, year by year, etc. And here you are. Now you've either arrived at, or you are preparing to arrive at, the mountaintop of indifference, the pinnacle of indifference, where there is no room for toxicity, there is no room for the narcissist, there is no room for poor behavior, there is no room for anything negative. It is clear skies, it is rarefied air, it is abundant. There is more than enough space for all of us who are healing or who have healed, and there is no room for a low vibrational creature. It just doesn't work that way, because those creatures, those people, those dark energy sources, they can't elevate to the mountaintop without a source. And even if they could, they can't sustain it. They can't stay there. That's why there's no room for these people. There's room for you, and there's room for myself and everyone else who's healed or seen behind the mask or who is healing. But you need to understand, just like in a forest of trees, of all beautiful, abundant, lush trees, every once in a while a tree falls. Well, the tree that falls, it's because it is aging and it doesn't have the nutrients, it doesn't have the fuel, the supply, and its life cycle has come to an end. Now, I'm not by any means wishing we didn't have trees. I love trees. There are trees behind me and we need them, but they all eventually will collapse and they will have their day and new trees will pop up. Using that example, the narcissist is similar to a tree in a forest without nutrients. The nutrients was a new supply, which was you, with a beautiful, bright, shining light. Without any energy, without any fuel source, that tree withers away and it falls apart and it collapses. Maybe not the best example, but why I'm sharing that is because around me there are a bunch of trees that fell recently from the storms we had, and it crossed my mind. That's what happens to the narcissist without a fuel source, without energy, without nurturing, without somebody directing them. They fall apart, and they were falling apart long before they met you. They didn't want you to know it, though. That's why they wore a mask, to infiltrate your life insidiously and to creep into your life and to learn all about you, to have you put a roof over their head, to raise their kids, to have wedding bells ring, to have you give them everything under the sun and more, which means your money, time, energy, love, empathy, and everything. And then when you hit your lowest point, or when your resources became defunct, or you didn't have what you had, then they would say, yeah, you're not the person I fell in love with. I don't know what to tell you. This is it, we're done. And you're like, what? We've been married 7 years. We've been married 30 years. What is this? Well, what it is a narcissist ending a relationship, trying to extinguish or expire that person, and certainly that relationship. The narcissists knew what they were doing. They methodically planned things out. They had a timeline. They watched your health take a hit, your money go to zero, your relationships blow up, and they watched you spin around on that hamster wheel of abuse inside the four walls of the house that you lived in with them, that you probably paid for, and so much more. And the whole time they were doing that, they were stealing your energy. You were grabbing dinners or lunches with these creatures, given the silent treatment. You had to cook, you had to clean, you had to do the dishes, you had to set the table, you had to sweep, you had to dust, mop, vacuum, you had to pay the bills, you had to direct them on how to live their life, you had to direct them and do things for them, because you were the unpaid helper, you were the walking apology, and so much more. But all that goes away once you heal, and once you heal properly and you go no contact, then you realize, wait a minute, all that baggage, it was theirs, it wasn't mine. I'm living an abundant life. I'm living a toxic-free life. I am a beautiful, bright, shining light, and I don't need any toxicity in my life. I now have boundaries. I can now say no, the strongest word in the English language. And when I say no to something or someone, I am saying yes to yourself or to myself. And now I don't tolerate poor behavior. Now I have a 1-strike rule, not a 3-strike rule like in baseball, 1, 2, 3, you're out. I have a 1-strike rule, which means cross me once or show me who you are once. I believe it. There are almost 8.3 billion people on the planet. I don't need to enter another toxic relationship, certainly, or another relationship to spin my wheels and try to see if that person's who they claim to be after X number of months. There's no time for that. The time and the energy and the focus and the direction and the purpose all go back into you. And when it goes back into you, you ascend higher than the sun, the moon, and the stars, and you arrive at that mountaintop, that pinnacle of indifference, again, where there's no room for toxicity or the narcissist. And while you're doing that and you're putting yourself back together, the narcissist is staying stuck in that low vibrational state because that's where they exist. They know it, I know it, and you're learning it. They will never be able to crawl their way out of that dungeon of horrors. They will never be able to crawl out of that way, that dungeon of manipulation or that cesspool of abuse, because they only know one thing: use, abuse, cheat, lie, steal, and manipulate people's time, their relationships, their health, their money, and more. And that's why it all comes back to roost in the end for the narcissist. That's why in the end, these people become, yes, the aging narcissist. And the aging narcissist is certainly not a pretty sight to see. That's why you need to stay away from these people as far as you possibly can, maintain your boundaries, and understand they were falling apart long before you met them. They just didn't want you to see it, but now you can see it because you can see what you couldn't see before. Because when you were in it, you can't see anything. When you're out and you heal and heal properly, you can see things from 10,000 miles away coming at you at light speed, which is why you shift directions, conserve your energy, and focus on yourself. I love you all. God bless you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. From the beautiful Carolinas, this is Andrew. Namaste. I hope you liked the video. I loved doing it. Again, I love you all. God bless you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. I want to share this before I close the video because it's going to rain here. The tree analogy may have been a good one. I think it was okay. Maybe it wasn't the best, but I do my videos in real time, and I just share my wisdom with my real life experiences in whatever environment I'm in, whether it's the sun, snow, hail, rain, whatever it is, beach, mountains, rainforest, jungle, whatever it is. Point being is, I'm a person who has healed, and I healed properly against all odds during a very debilitating 2-year period of not only my life, but this planet's existence. If I did it, you can do it. You need to believe in yourself the way I believe in you. You need to stop giving the narcissist chances. You need to go no contact. You need to cut all ties with them, which include the financial, the emotional, the physical, and the spiritual tie. And you need to really understand that person has disdain for you. They don't love you. They don't care about you. They don't love anybody. They don't care about anybody. They care about using people up, chewing them and spitting them out, crumbling them up like a sheet of paper, throwing them away in the freeway, and finding a new source or a recycled source of supply so they can do it again and again and again. That's why you really need to play this video, play it a few times. Get out of the energy field of the narcissist. If not now, when? I love you all. God bless you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Bye.